Never underestimate the power of blending. Well, hello you guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today, I got a haircut and I am loving it. I almost filmed this video yesterday and then I decided to wait a day because I knew my hair would be much cuter. So you're welcome. So today we are diving into contouring. Really the reason I decided to do this video was that a little while back I asked a friend of mine what kind of videos or content she'd like to see here on my channel, and her response was, please do a video on contouring. And then since then I've had multiple other friends ask me about contouring or ask me to do a video on contouring. So that's what I'm going to do today. So this video is going to be geared towards people who are beginners when it comes to contour, or people who kind of do it a little bit but they still have a lot of questions or don't quite understand what they're doing. So what this video is not gonna be is, as I've heard many people refer to it, like the Kim Kardashian kind of contouring, where you like sculpt out your entire face with contour and highlight and I'm sure once you get the hang of it, it's fine, but it's a lot. But that's a lot more in depth, a lot more steps, a lot more products. That's not what I'm going to be covering today. I'm just covering the simple basics of contouring. And I'm also going to be using powder contour today, not cream, because I feel like powder is a little bit more beginner friendly. Okay, so I've already got my foundation, concealer, and all over face powder already on. And I'll be diving into the actual application of contour in just a second. But I do want to answer some of the questions that the friends that have talked to me about teaching them how to contour have personally asked me. So the main question that I feel like I get, and I'm going to combine it with another question because I feel like they go hand in hand pretty much. These two questions are, what is contour? And also, what is the difference between contour and bronzer? Very good questions. I feel like one of the easiest ways for me to explain that to you is to show you the difference. So here we have a contour, and here we have, it's gonna fly forward, and here we have a bronzer shade. So the main difference, as you can see, is literally this one is cool toned and this one is warm toned. So the uses for these are that contour is used to sculpt and add essentially shadows on the face. And then bronzer is used to add more of a glow to the skin or add that sun-kissed kind of look to the skin. That's why it's more of a warmer shade. Also, because contour is more of a shadow, you put it more in hollows or places that are going to sink back. But bronzer, you put more where the sun would hit. So not necessarily where you put blush, but you could, but just on the cheekbone instead of underneath the cheekbone. Put it up on the temples, anywhere that you want that sun-kissed look. So that's bronzer. So contour acts as a shadow, and shadows push back anything that they fall on, right? So the difference between highlight and contour is that highlight brings forward whatever it's on top of, and contour or shadow pushes back whatever it's on top of. So basically, in a nutshell, that's all that contour is. It's just a shadow. It can actually be very, very simple, and once you get the hang of it, you can do it really quickly. And it's not something you have to do on an everyday basis, but if you want to do it for a special occasion or a night out, or you're having photos taken, a contour, whether it's strong or subtle, looks really great in photos. So anyway, also everybody's face is different, everybody's bone structure, so your placement might be a little bit different than someone else's, but the concept is the same across the board. I do want to say right off the bat, the one thing I'm not really going to delve into too much, or really even at all, is nose contour. And here's why. One, I personally don't do nose contour very often, but the main reason that I'm not really gonna bother with teaching you guys about nose contour is because everybody's nose is so different. And the most common, at least that I've seen, nose contour is the two lines straight down. And that's fine. Honestly, sometimes I do just a really light contour that's those two lines straight down. But it honestly doesn't work for every single nose. So that's why I am not going to be really teaching you guys nose contour. But if that's something that you really want to figure out for yourself, I am going to link a video in the description box that I found to be very helpful and informative, but it's also really quick and concise. It's not a super long video, but it's by Wayne Goss. I believe he's a professional makeup artist. He has this video on how to contour all different kinds of nose shapes. So I will link that in the description box if that's something that you really want to learn about. I'm just not going to delve into that here. So without any more chit chat, let's dive in. So what I'm going to be using today is this Essence Contouring Duo palette. I have it in the shade 10 Lighter Skin. So this is just their one for lighter. I think they have like, do they have like 2 or 3 of these maybe? Like light, medium, and dark skin? I don't know. But it has these 2 shades. So obviously a lighter contour and a darker contour shade, which I personally find very, very helpful. And they're just very powdery, very soft, very easy to work with. And then of course it's Essence. So they're a very affordable brand if you don't know about them. I picked this up at Ulta and it was $6.99. Also for brushes, most contour brushes that you'll see, at least that I've seen, are usually angled like this. So this is one that's a little bit more just compact. It's not super dense, but it's just a little more compact and it's a little bit smaller. It's a little easier to be a little more detailed with this one. And then this one is a lot fluffier. It's, as you can tell, not as packed in there as this one. So if you want more of a diffused look, you could get one that's a little bit more like this. I mean, you could always like pinch the bristles if this is all you already have. Not a big deal. Just wanted to point that out. Different brushes will give you a different effect. And also a big fluffy brush is always a good idea to have on hand. If you accidentally get a little too crazy or you get too much product or it's just too harsh and you can't blend it out with your contour brush, you can always just take your big fluffy brush and blend over that, diffuse the situation. You can always take the darker shade and concentrate it a little further back and take the lighter shade and kind of use it to like come a little bit more forward and blend it out a little bit more. So that way the whole thing isn't super dark and heavy, but not the whole thing is super light either. So I'm going to do half of my face to start off, just so you can see a side-by-side difference of like what contour actually does. I think just because it might be easier to see, I am going to do the darker contour just so it is like very clear and obvious like what I'm doing. Just tap it off a little bit just so you don't get too much. You can also just go like this and try to get a little bit off because you don't want to go in too harsh right off the bat. So the first area that I'm going to tackle and that I usually do first when I contour my face is the cheekbone. So if your cheekbones aren't super pronounced or it's like hard to see where that shadow is, just go like this and feel where your cheekbone is. And then just go underneath that cheekbone. Wherever the bottom of that cheekbone is up here, just kind of start there and work your way in. Most people say usually towards the corner of your mouth. Don't come in too far because that usually just looks kind of crazy and it kind of ages you a little bit if you bring it too far in. So usually you want to stop right about here. So we're just going to start here. And one of the most important things with not just contour, but just makeup in general is just blending. Like, never underestimate the power of blending. And I'm trying to push that shadow. I'm not trying to like take it onto my ear, but I just don't want there to be a, you know, white space right there that looks awkward, especially if your hair is pulled back. And I don't have any more product. I'm on my brush. I'm just trying to blend it so that it's not harsh. So now I'm going to dip back into that dark shade and we're going to go up here on the temples. So my hairline does kind of come back to like a square almost, like my hairline is kind of straight, and sometimes I just want to fill this in a little bit and just like make these little triangles, you know, disappear. So I just tap off some excess. It's not as important to do this if your hair is going to be down, but if your hair is going to be pulled back, especially if you're more on the fair side, I like to just kind of work it into my hairline a tiny bit because, I mean, look how white my scalp is compared to even just my regular skin tone. And then especially right next to this contour shade, I just don't want there to be a white line right there at the edge of my hairline. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just kind of what's left on the brush. And then if I wanted to like shorten my forehead a tiny bit, if I didn't want it to be so high, I could just, again, blend this into the hairline a little bit. Just bring this forward. And then if you wanted to, some people like to leave their temples. Sometimes I like to add a little bit of shadow right there. Not all the way in, but just a little bit. So I'm actually going to bring this right here. It just narrows the face down a little bit. The cool thing about contour is like, and just makeup in general, like you can create structure that maybe you just don't have, or you can emphasize structure that you do have. So I think that's kind of the fun thing about contour and the fun thing about makeup. So now I'm gonna do my jawline right here. Basically, I'm literally just gonna go right along the edge of my jaw on the underside. And then when I come to this corner, I wanna make it a little more angular today. So I'm gonna do that. But I'm gonna see where my jaw actually is, and then I'm gonna follow that. Maybe you have a very angular jaw and you wanna soften that. You can bring it up on top of your jawbone and soften it and make it look more rounded instead of angular. And that will soften the whole thing. But I don't have that issue. I have a very soft jawline right there. So that's what I'm gonna work on. I'm kind of pushing it down into like where I can feel it. Then I'm just gonna drag it like this. And then, while you're working on the jaw, if you have what you would consider a double chin, or even like most of us have this little bit of extra fluff right here, you know? And if it sticks down below my chin, there's a shadow here and a shadow here. But this little space where it dips down is catching the light. So if I want that to disappear, then I just add a shadow there. And then if you want to make your bottom lip look a little poutier, you can take a tiny bit of contour, just a little bit right underneath. It looks really weird on just half of it. Maybe I'll do a tiny bit on my nose. I'm not really gonna teach you the nose part, but I am gonna do a little bit. I'm gonna do the lighter shade though. I don't wanna be too harsh on my nose, so I just did a very faint nose contour. It just adds a little more shadow, a little more structure, doesn't make it look quite so round. But obviously it's only half of it, so it looks kind of funky. So I hope you guys can tell the pretty obvious difference between the two. A lot more structure on this side, a lot less structure on this side. And also, like I've seen some people before, if you feel like maybe your chin kind of disappears into your jaw, or like you feel like you don't have much of a chin, I'm not gonna do this because I'm fine with my chin, but you can literally just kind of add a line here, a little line there, buff it out, just adds a little bit of shadow, and it kind of creates a little bit more chin jaw structure right there. Okay, so there's that side by side for you. And I'm going to clean off this darker shade on my brush, and I'm gonna go do the other side of my face with the lighter shade, just so you can see the same effect but with less intense of a contour. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back with both sides done. This is the side that I originally did with the darker contour, and this is the side I just finished with the lighter shade of contour, but I did the exact same thing, just with a lighter shade. And then obviously the nose is, both sides are the lighter shade. Hopefully you guys can see, looking at it straight on, the difference but also the similarities between the two sides. of how you still get structure on the side with the lighter contour shade. It's just not as intense or as structured as this side. So definitely more harsh or more intense looking, and this is more soft, more subtle, but there's structure. So hopefully you guys can see that. There's both sides. Personally, this is the side that I usually go with, and hopefully doing this side helps to encourage you and show you that contour doesn't have to look scary. It can look really, really nice and really subtle. So real quick, I'm gonna even these out, make this side look a little bit more like this side, just so it's not such a crazy difference. And then I'm also gonna just finish up my face really quick, just so that you can see the difference between the contour by itself on your face compared to what it looks like with your whole face finished. It all comes together, I promise. I'll be right back. Here's my full face of makeup. The contour looks not as scary when the rest of the makeup is done and a little bit more life is added to the face. And I just popped this on my eyelids and under my eye as some eyeshadow and even as some eyeliner, and just popped on a mascara and blush, highlight, lipstick, and I already had a little bit of brow product in the whole time. So now that you guys see what it looks like all finished and put together, that's it for this video. We're all done. So I hope that I answered at least, the basic questions. A lot of trial and error with this for me over the years. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If you tried contouring your face after this, if you used this video to teach you how to do your contour, let me know down in the comments. I would love to know. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't joined the Everyday family over here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to be notified every single time I upload, then you can ring the bell. And if you'd like to hang out with me outside of YouTube, you can find me over on Instagram at everyday.amymay. So I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.